you must listen. You must listen to your employees. You must listen to your clients. I have to listen to, the salesmen that come in because they are the first point of contact. Before I even get to a customer, my employees are the first level of contact. So you listen to them and you learn by your people. I learn by my tenants, what their needs are in order to pass an inspection. If they tell me, I can't wash dishes because I don't have any dishwashing detergent, I wouldn't ask anything of anyone. And I do have a property manager, and we work very closely together. But I will go in and I will roll up my sleeve.
Yes.
And I will put on some gloves, and I will go across the street, get them some dish, so that we could pass inspection. I will unplug a toilet, with a plunger. So you have to listen to people, and you cannot look down on anyone because you don't know when you may be down.
Hello, and welcome to the Leadership Reality Podcast with your girl, Ty.G. Charity. This podcast is for C-suite leaders to discuss their experiences and provide insight, encouragement, and inspiration for seasoned and inspiring leaders, offering valuable solutions to today's challenges that will inspire, ignite, and invigorate new and seasoned leaders to walk in their God-given authority with compassion, kindness, and empathy. So sit back, relax, and be prepared to be inspired with today's episode of Leadership Reality. Thank you. Welcome to another episode of Leadership Realities with me, Ty.G. Charity. Today's very special guest is my friend and philanthropist, Theresa Lowe. Theresa is the founder and executive director of the Lowe Family Foundation, continuing a legacy of community advocacy inspired by her grandmother, a dedicated organizer and volunteer. With a strong background in early education, childhood education, Theresa is passionate about fostering academic excellence and empowering young people to uplift their communities. As a visionary leader, she takes initiative in organizing, planning, and overseeing impactful community projects, earning recognition such as the Curren D SHero Award in 2015. Committed to her student and parent engagement, Theresa has contributed to organizations that promote active participation in education. She has also served as advisory and led fundraising efforts for numerous causes and educational institutions. The challenges of lost learning opportunities and limited resources during the COVID-19 pandemic have furthered her fuel and her dedication of enhancing social and academic well-being. And I must tell you that her stamp of love is seen all over the Kids Production Studio with Purpose, from the outside picnic table to the front office to the studio apartment. Theresa's hand is on it. So I am so happy because she has a heart to give in such a huge way. So welcome to the show, Theresa.
Thank you for having me, Taji.
I'm so excited. I've been waiting for this day, my friend. I love it. Thank you for saying yes, first and foremost.
I can't say no to you.
All right, let's talk leadership, Theresa, because I know you have the foundation, but you've been in business long before you started the Lowe. Is it the Family Lowe Foundation or is it the Lowe Family Foundation?
The Lowe Family.
The Lowe Family Foundation. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about your other business first. You and your husband actually own a liquor store, right?
Liquor store, two of them, liquor convenience stores.
And you've been running that for how long?
For 20 years now.
For 20 years. And you also you do real estate as well, because you manage several properties and things like that?
Commercial and real estate. Commercial and residential real estate.
You're just a businesswoman. I want to know, when did you first realize that you were a leader, that you had this entrepreneur spirit to launch a business that's been in existence for 20 plus years?
Well, it dates back to my childhood. Mm-hmm. And I would organize us going swimming in my neighborhood, go over to my grandmother's, and I would say, on Tuesdays, we're all going swimming, and then I would pass out on a brown paper bag, we're going swimming, and these are the items that we need to go swimming. So it started back then in Chicago.
That Chi-Town is in, I love my Chi-Town guests, okay?
Yes.
So you started basically organizing community outings and bringing people together. And that sort of like was the beginning of...
That was the beginning. And then when I pledged, and then...
What did you pledge?
AKA...
She said, wait, she got offended by the question. Like, what you mean? What? There's only one.
There's only one.
Okay, you pledged AKA?
Yes.
All right.
And then later to rejoin for Jack and Jill Incorporated when we had children. So
nice,
yes.
Nice. So with that, with those leadership skills that you had, when did you realize you wanted to start a business, and how is it that the business, and I love the t-shirt, by the way, you're branded in your company's t-shirt called Reggie's Liquor? Reggie's
Liquor and Junior Market, and they're on the east side of Los Angeles, both of them, and we serve the underserved communities.
Okay.
So I guess, watching the children at young age come into the liquor store before going to school, and the items that they would pick, a Coca-Cola, some Takis to go to school, it really was really disturbing to me. And I wanted to make sure that the community supported children that will have a healthy meal before going into the classroom, because I taught school. So I know what it feels like to have a student come in that is on 20 at 8 o'clock in the morning because they've sugared themselves up. And noticing that our community with black and brown boys in it, they were overweight, and they were just not focused in life because of how they start their mornings.
Yeah. I'm just glad that they were coming in for Coca-Cola and chips and not trying to get any liquor, right? Well,
Understood.
I know you would never sell liquor to a minor.
Right. Well, with that being said, we have decors that, do send in people that are underage that may look of age.
Really?
So you must have ID when you come in. So there's a lot of different levels of running a liquor store / junior market, because you must watch out for both, people.
Yeah. Wow. So what has been some of the challenges in running your own business, and then moving from running your own business to really operating leadership and then starting a foundation? Can you walk me through that? What has that been like for you? What are some of the challenges, and what are some of just the obviously the successes, because you're here and you're thriving?
Right. It comes and goes. You have challenges because they work hand in hand. You will have a tenant that live across the street from one of our liquor stores that, are on the verge of losing their Section 8. And so you want to help them. So I'm thrown into it most times. And I can't, say no, because they support us on the residential side because they're my tenant, and then they come across to get, cheese. They come across the street and get, Pampers and those type things. So it's a challenge, especially during COVID. It was really a challenge because, we were not allowed to really go anywhere. And so we had our tenants coming in purchasing from us. So we had to really had to pay attention to what the needs were then.
And again, you have such a heart of giving, and I know that can create somewhat of a challenge because you want to help in every way possible while also maintaining the success and growth of your business. And you're a mom, right? A mom of two. You know what? I know our Senator Curren. Well, he's a congressman now, right? Curren Price. I know he honored you with the SHero Award, but in my book, you're my SHero. You're one of my SHeros, because I watch just from afar. You balance business, philanthropy, and family. How do you do that?
It's nothing but God. And if you keep God first, then He will guide you. And it takes the community to help you with that. Having two different genders, a boy and a girl, they're very different in every way. I have my daughter which is the oldest, she is an artist. And then I have a son that's an athlete. And the thing in our household first is education, and then you need a language, and then you need an art or athlete. So we balance that in that way. Yeah.
That's a lot, though, and not to mention the extracurriculum activities and things like that you have to do, because moms are the taxi drivers, moms are the financiers of all the things that our children want to do.
Right. And it's really hard when you have two children going different ways. My husband, he participates in a financial role, but I do all the grunt work. That's, picking them up, listening to their problems, talking to the teachers, talking to the coaches. And it's challenging, but it can be done. And you sometimes lose yourself. You do lose yourself. Now that the both of them are away in school, I have time to kind of focus on myself, but I need to get them to the next level of life.
You never stop parenting.
Never stop parenting.
You never stop parenting.
Never.
So in terms of your leadership, what's your leadership style? How do you lead your employees that work for you in the store, or any of your property managers that you work with, or you might be your own property manager? How do you see yourself in that role?
You must listen. You must listen to your employees. You must listen to your clients. I have to listen to, the salesmen that come in, because they are the first point of contact. Before I even get to a customer, my employees are the first level of contact. So you listen to them, and you learn by your people. I learn by my tenants, what their needs are in order to pass an inspection. If they tell me, I can't wash dishes because I don't have any dishwashing detergent, I wouldn't ask anything of anyone. And I do have a property manager, and we work very closely together. But I will go in and I will roll up my sleeve.
Yes.
And I will put on some gloves, and I will go across the street, get them some dish, so that we could pass inspection. I will unplug a toilet, with a plunger.
That's
So
what I'm
you
talking
have
about.
to listen to people, and you cannot look down on anyone, because you don't know when you may be down.
Absolutely. Honestly, I think being a leader is also being an example. You have to first be an example of what leadership look like, and leadership does not make you above in the terms of being better than anyone else. So I hear you with the plunger, getting it done, rolling up your sleeves, getting in the grind to make sure that the needs are being met. What happens when you have staff that don't fit the culture of your business, or even you have tenants who don't like to abide by the rules? Because those people exist.
They do. And you use your enemy as your footstool. And I use that every single day. They don't want to come to work. So if I have to come in and be late to pick up my child from school, then you won't have a job. And
bottom line, huh? No, I hear that.
Say, well, if you can't come into work, can you go get my child in Westlake Village, an hour away? Because I can't be in two places.
Right.
Well, okay, I can come in. So it's, you meet them halfway. Say, okay, I understand in this part. Let's work together. How can we solve this? Tell me what I need to do to help you be a better employee. Tell me what I can do for you to pass inspection, to be a better tenant.
Yeah. You invest in your people.
Oh, absolutely.
And you are just that person, Theresa. I feel like when I'm in need of something, let me just tell y'all, when we opened the Kids Production Studio with Purpose, right? And we were having the Mayor Curren D, to attend. And it was like, okay, our parking lot fits 8, but we're holding the ribbon cutting in the parking lot. So what are we going to do about parking? And at the time, across the street was a real heavy, homeless population. And I was like, Theresa, we need parking. I don't know what to do. Theresa made one phone call to her connection at the Metro, and we got clearance to have everybody park at the metro. Those are the kind of friends you need. Let me tell you, right? The ones you can just call and they make one phone call. And that says a lot about you and the community and how people see you in the community.
Right.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel really blessed that I show up for them and they show up for me.
Yeah,
That is
it's
such
give
a
and
blessing. Stephanie Wiggins, who is over Metro, and she asked things of me, and I said, okay, I'm asking something of you.
That's
So
relationship, though.
that's
We can
relationship
depend
building.
on one another when things are needed. But
Right.
you do it all, Teresa. We have a sofa in our apartment set here, and I was like, this sofa is dirty. Next thing I know, Teresa had a crew coming to pick up the sofa, to clean the sofa, and bring the sofa back. And I was like, this woman here. So, I mean, it's
Yeah.
just amazing that you're able to have those types of results
Right.
when you call.
Right, and it's funny because that's the person that cleans my clothes, and so we just have that relationship, and they, they were down with business, and I'm like, listen, this is how you get business. So they started by doing that, they started another business to
Yeah.
hold them over.
Yeah.
So you don't know, you're trying to be a blessing to someone else, and they're blessing you
At the same time.
at the same time. Yeah.
So let's
A
talk
heart of
about
giving.
absolutely the heart of give and you shall receive, right? It has this sowing and reaping effect.
Exactly.
I sow what I sow, I reap,
Reap.
right? Just simple biblical principles. But let's talk about the Lowe Family Foundation. What inspired you to start the Lowe Family Foundation?
Going down to the store because there was a need. People were afraid of leaving, so I had to do some of the work there too. I would see the kids come in and they weren't learning. They still had on their bedtime clothes and they were purchasing, like I said before, Takis and Coca-Cola. That was in their diet. And I wanted to make sure that this learning was continuing and just connecting people with different schools, foundations such as yourself, to foster these kids and give them a place of where they can go online and learn, continue their learning. And so that's what inspired me of doing that. It's not just education, it's what you put in your body, it's what you get out. It's like if you want to put a high performance gas in there for your car to perform, it's the same with your body. And oftentimes we don't believe that food is nutrition. We don't treat it as that. And so having the store, it was a blessing to see that there was a need beyond just the academics, but for, the nutrition of the whole person. And contacting, like I connected you with the food stamps.
Yes.
For your people.
Young people.
And it was just a blessing over and over and over, just connecting the dots. Oh God, who can I help with this?
Yeah.
Because I have this FDA coming into the store. You need eggs, you need, bread, and people are giving out food every single week, but people aren't taking advantage of those things.
Because sometimes they just don't even know they exist, right?
They don't like the
Or they
brands.
don't know how to.
They don't like the brands. They don't like standing in line. They feel shame. But they will go out and purchase a couple $100 tennis shoes for their kids, but then they don't have the nutrition or the book bags and everything to go to school.
Yeah.
So it's priority. It's just teaching them.
Yeah.
It's educating them.
Absolutely. There's a scripture that comes to mind that says, my people are destroyed because of a lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we don't have the knowledge to do better.
To do better.
And you are, you talk about being a listener as a quality in leadership, but you're very attentive as well. Not only are you listening, but you're paying attention to what you're seeing around you and stepping in to meet that need. So that's the purpose of the Lowe Family Foundation.
That is the purpose.
I love that. Absolutely, absolutely love that. I want to know, what kind of advice would you give to someone who wants to start a business and just don't know where to get started? Like they don't know how. What would be your recommendation?
I think community, go to your local congressman and see, what the needs are in your community. It's a
Create a
community
business based on the needs
the
around
needs.
you. It ain't about profit first, right?
No, it
It's about
isn't.
meeting a need.
It's about me, and you get so much gratification when you see the fruits of your labor.
Yeah.
You can drive the best car, have the best jewelry, but you're empty inside. That's not a good feeling.
Yeah.
So you need to
Yeah.
support the community.
Tell me about your grandma.
Oh, gosh, first of all, my grandmother was an immigrant, being a Canadian person, coming to, Chicago. And it was just, she had 9 children
Oh, wow.
and just an incredible person.
Yeah.
And she wanted to show the community that she was not just an immigrant, but she wanted to give back to the community. And
Yeah.
so when I would have, what I didn't say was when I would tell them on Tuesday to get ready to go swimming, she had a Volkswagen, one of those Volkswagen vans. We would load everybody on our block in that van to go swimming in the neighborhood.
Wow.
And she would have sandwiches for everyone. I would make the sandwiches, cut them in half, and everybody would have a brown paper bag. I was a brown paper bag. I've been a bag girl all my life. So I would put the sandwiches in a brown paper bag, and they would share a pop. We call them pops in Chicago, not sodas.
We call them cold drinks from Louisiana. I'm from Louisiana.
Okay.
So we call them cold drinks in Louisiana. That is so amazing.
Yeah.
So you watched just your grandmother's demonstration of service.
Of service.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious to know, from watching your grandmother to starting your own business and being successful, how do you lead during challenging times? I know out of COVID birth the Lowe Family Foundation, but we're in a very interesting place right now in our country regarding DEI being threatened and funding and things like that. How do you manage in times of uncertainties, especially around the economy?
As I text you in the email, on a text stating that we need to start praying.
Let's start there.
Yes.
Let's start there.
Prayer warriors is how you get through it. And it's a lot of people that are afraid and that are impacted. I'm impacted firsthand with my employees. They're documented, but are they undocumented? Can they, show, do they have a family member? So to answer that, I don't know what's to come. But
well, you
prayer is
said the
powerful.
source, and you know what? I should have taken about 5 sips on just that prayer alone. Is the foundation. That's where we have to start. And then coming together as a community to see how do we serve one another. Because if I'm looking out for you and you're looking out for me, everyone is being looked out for, right? We're all being each other's keeper.
Right.
In putting it in layman's terms.
Right.
I think. So aside from just having to really be focused during this time, what would you say to any young person who is, say for instance, they were thinking about starting a business and we're going through this economy right now? Would you tell them to pause, or would you tell them to stay focused, to keep doing the work? Like, what kind of advice would you tell them
Absolutely.
in a time of uncertainty like we're living right now?
Keep going. Go stronger.
Yeah.
Keep going. Pray, go stronger, go harder, and don't stop.
Yeah.
Do
like
not
Nike,
stop.
just do it.
Just do it.
And don't quit.
Yeah. You did no regrets. Just do it. You will find people. God will put people in your life, in your path, that will help you.
I know that's right.
Because,
I'm a living witness of that.
They will put people in your life. He will put people in your life, or whatever faith base you have. You pray to that faith base for good, and you will do good.
Do you follow any trends in leadership?
I guess I do.
Okay.
Like
Or do you have any leaders that you sort of admire and just really take advice from and sort of,
Right.
emulate when you need to?
Right. So some leaders would be, like Stephanie and Jackie DuPont Walker, Gloria. They're leaders on the biblical side, and they're leaders in the community.
And Stephanie is the CEO of the Metro,
Metro.
the Los Angeles Metro.
Right.
Okay. And who else did you
And
say?
Jackie DuPont Walker,
And she
she's
is?
over Ward Economics, which so she does the AME Church, as
okay.
well as she's on the board on Metro,
Okay.
and with Curren Bass. So a lot of the ladies that's trending, those are the ladies that I follow, and males,
Yeah.
community based, that are really doing in our community. We
Boots
can't
on the ground doing the
that's
work.
on the ground doing the work, and those are who I learned from, and yourself.
Wow.
You
Well,
know,
thank you.
you give. I remember Taji calling me at 10 o'clock at night. Housing.
That's when you know she a friend if she pick up at 10 at night.
Yeah,
Right?
I'm like, if Taji called, there must be a need. And housing, we're figuring out how to house your when I don't know the proper name. Is it TAYS?
Yeah, transitional age youth. Take.
Yes, working together,
Yes.
calling Hopics and all the different nonprofit, and seeing who we can get in contact with.
Yes.
At
What is
10 at
Hopics
night.
for those who may not know?
It's homeless. It's the houseless now, I guess. Houseless nonprofit that will
Provide housing.
housing everyone from youth to seniors, and giving them not just a place to stay, but mental. They have a psych ward. They have a lot of different things. Furniture and from A to Z. So I work with all of those different agencies, and they're just one to name a few.
Yes. And that's, what, that also for me just talks about or speaks to the level of your heart, because it was 10 o'clock at night and we stayed up till almost midnight calling back and forward, texting folks until we were able to find a safe place for this young woman to stay. And I don't want to get emotional about it, but you don't find people that's like that, because you have your own life at 10 o'clock at night, you with your own family, but you saw the need of one of our youth, and you like, what we got to do, who we got to call.
And we got up early that morning.
And got up and still continued that morning
to make sure that she was in a safe place.
And had a place to live.
And I said, Taji, she cannot come on your couch. She's like, well, I just said, no.
Right?
We have to make sure it's a safe place for both you and she, because things could get a little sticky, and that's when you're trying to give, you have to ask God, let me give the right gift to the right person.
Right.
Because it's nothing. Oh gosh, if you give the right gift to the wrong person, that will come, and that's happened to me, and stab you in the back.
Yeah, and it creates a ripple effect where people don't trust anyone, and they don't want to give to anyone, and that's part of the challenge we have with some employers. When we have youth that we want to send out to work at various jobs, if they worked with one and that one didn't work out, they're quick to say, well, we tried it, and youth coming from the system, they're not dependable, they're not reliable. And it's like, no, that's not all of them. Don't take one isolated incident and put a label on all youth that have been impacted by the system. So we take it very seriously in the training that we do here at Kids in the Spotlight to make sure that our youth are ready to go out and take on various jobs in the entertainment industry, because you have to do the right gift or the right service when people are at a place where they're ready to receive it too. Right? And sometimes you have to help them get to the place where they're ready to actually receive what you offer. But yeah, she surely did. She was like, and not your couch. I was like, but I might have to. She was like, no, ma'am.
We're going to get this. We're going to work this out.
And we did.
And like the heart of giving, like, I admire you because you wanted to give me when my daughter needed to film a video for her high school capstone. And you're like, she could just have the space. No, we need you to keep that space. So we always need to pay for our services,
That's such a good point.
When I met, and I know that your work is working because I met a young lady that on set that helped us with the video that she texted me the other day because she's running for something right now.
Yes.
And so your kids, they do not just stop here. They
Right.
keep going and going in life. And so you never know who you may meet
Absolutely.
that you've impacted again,
Yes.
that's in a position to
ripple
help
effect.
you.
That
And you're
ripple
like,
effect.
whoa.
Absolutely. I love it. Well, I'm so grateful for our mutual friend who is the executive producer of this show, Miss Kimberly Sparks, because you don't always have friends who's willing to share their friends. Now, Kimberly, you know Kimberly, like you and Kimberly have been friends
grew up.
forever. And Kimberly introduced me to you
I love her.
many years ago.
Yes.
And I'm just so grateful for that because we
Yes.
then developed our own friendship.
Yes, and she never gets in the middle of that because Kimberly she's one of a kind. You don't
She
meet people
is.
like that.
She
That's
is.
my sister.
She really is. I'm a drink to that one too because
I too will drink to that.
because that she is. Well, they've already held that sign up telling me that I have to rap. They already know I don't like doing that, especially when I'm talking to my friends.
Yes.
But I want to ask you, give me 3 words that you think your team, your staff, your tenants would use to describe Theresa Lowe.
Oh my God, they love me. My tenants from back in the day. I just tell you a quick story. I had a tenant. She now works in a grocery store that I shop in, and that was her dream, was to work in this grocery store. So that she put your money where your mouth is, and that is that I'm honest, that I will help, and that I love the people. Yeah.
That is so good.
Yeah.
And I will definitely concur. I would describe you the same way and then some.
Yes. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Taji, for having me.
I'm so happy. You know what? That's my girl. You know what? Wait. I know I said that was the last question.
Okay.
But I want to hear about Jack and Jill because I know you've been a member of Jack and Jill for a long time. And I've been looking into actually getting my daughter signed up with the Jack and Jill program. Real quickly, tell me about Jack and Jill.
So Jack and Jill is a national nonprofit for African Americans, but it's opened up because many of us we actually marry outside of our race, and it's to get the kids together to know about their history because they normally go to schools that don't have Black history, and our kids don't know about our ancestors.
And
so
they're trying now to make sure they pull a lot of Black history out. But go ahead.
And Jack and Jill exposes you to many different levels of leadership, many different levels of what's going on in your community. We go up the hill to the Capitol Hill in Washington. And so it's a bunch of moms getting together and exposing your children to life.
Yes.
I would say. Yeah. So it's been a great ride. This is our last year. You graduate out of Jack and Jill when you graduate from high school.
And your baby's graduated from high school.
Yeah, technically he is in college right now. He went early, and but he officially graduates in June from high school.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh,
so Jack and Jill has been a staple in our house. Yeah, I was a Jack and Jill member.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Theresa Lowe, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
I know you all grabbed something today that will help you on your leadership journey. As you can see, Theresa is just a whole package in my book. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember to do those 3 magical things: like, share, and subscribe, and help someone else out on their leadership journey. We are a community, and as a community, we support and need one another. At Kids in the Spotlight, we always say, it takes a village. So thank you for supporting. Have a great day. Till next time. Bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is our show for today. I hope you were inspired and you gained some valuable nuggets that will help you to become a better leader and to walk in your God-given authority. Bye. Until next time.